thank you for everybody that's worked diligently through this storm. Thank y'all for your help here to try to get the news out to the public itself. Approximately today and overnight, we have had approximately 10 plus inches of water fall through the county of Alexander. Approximately 50 roadways across the county have been compromised with 4 bridges that have washed away. We have had multiple swiftwater rescue personnel, which one had to evacuate approximately 31 personnel from Hiddenite Family Campground. We still are in the process of searching, but we do have approximately 4 people that's still unaccounted for, and we're still in the process of searching. In addition, we did have an automobile accident in the northern section of the town that claimed 1 life at Hopewell Church Road. Names for all have not been identified at this time. Alexander County community has opened up a storm shelter at East Halesville Baptist Church for the patrons at Hiddenite Family Campground. Citizens are advised to use extreme caution if they must drive, and never drive through standing water. If they require assistance, emergency, still please dial 911. Any non-emergency will contact the Public Service Office at 828-632-9336. If you have any flood damage, you can also report it on the county website, which is www.alexandercountync.gov/storm to send photo information. Alexander County would like to express its appreciation to the many emergency agencies that's assisted, including 4 swiftwater teams from Mooresville, which is still on the scene at Hiddenite Family Campground. We've had fire departments from our local community. We've also had Sawmills Fire Department Swiftwater Rescue Team, Conover Fire Department Swiftwater Rescue Team, and Alexander County Rescue and EMS Swiftwater Team. The last we checked, it was 9 swiftwater rescues that we had to complete. All those are completed except for 2 at this time. And I'm going to leave it to the sheriff, Chris Bowman.
Thank you, Doug Gillespie. Again, appreciate all of you coming out this afternoon. I know everyone is interested. It seems like our county, Alexander, has really been hit hard with this storm that came through. I know it hadn't been too many months ago that we had evacuations that did occur at the Hiddenite Family Campground because of the river rising high and quickly. And that's exactly what had happened last night and this morning, that the water raised quickly. And I have my personnel detectives over at the Hiddenite Campground at this time, helping with the search. And like Mr. Gillespie said, that we do have 1 person that is deceased that was found inside a camper. And the excuse me, the process of course, getting the individual out of the camper. The water is still high. The rescue teams are still having a lot of trouble getting around because of the water. And like I said, this is a very unfortunate thing that's happened to Alexander County in many, many years, that we've had a storm like this that's come through this quick and gave us this much water at one time. So if you will, please keep the families, the rescuers, everybody in your thoughts and prayers, because we have a lot of work to be done yet, even when the water resides. As Mr. Gillespie said, we have several roads that are been closed by the Department of Transportation, that been either damaged to the pavement and or culverts or bridges washed out. And 4 that we know of right now that's been washed out is, of course, Highway 16 South, intersection of Millersville Road, which 16 comes out of and leads into Catawba County. That intersection, Millersville and 16, is closed. And I may add, I was there all morning helping with traffic there. Folks, even while I was standing there, we seen people that was trying to go around these barricades. These barricades is there for a purpose, and it's for not only your protection, but the people that's in your vehicle's protection. This particular intersection is washed out bad. It's washed out up under the pavement where you can't tell. It looks like a normal hard surface road. But if a vehicle goes on it, it's no doubt in my mind that someone's going to fall into a hole. The next was, of course, Hopewell Church Road, Cheatham Ford Road, which is a bridge near what's called the water plant on Cheatham Ford Road here in Alexander County. And the other one, Rocky Face Church Road, also here in Alexander County. So we ask that you please be cautious, not only today, tonight, tomorrow, and days to come, because these bridges and damage to the roads, in my opinion, we're looking months down the road for any kind of repair to be done. So again, please use caution as you out traveling this evening and tonight. Thank you.
Are we able to ask questions?
Yes.
Okay. Earlier, Cruz had said that 5 people were missing, so would the one who was found dead be one of those?
Yes, the one of the persons that was found deceased is one of the 5 that was reported missing.
A lot of family members on scene said that they lost their baby in the floodwaters. Can you comment on that?
The only thing I know at this time is that, of course, my major detectives have called and said it was a child that was missing along with the 4 adults. And now, since we found one deceased, it leaves 3 adults and 1 child. That's unaccountable.
Sure, but you don't know age?
Approximately 10 years old.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm sorry, 1 year old. 1 year old.
Okay.
I was thinking of something else.
Do you know the ages of the other people who were missing?
We don't at this time.
And
We
what
don't.
about the person who passed away?
We don't at this time.
Okay.
Like I said, we haven't even got the deceased person identified yet because it was just located, I'm going to say, approximately an hour and a half or so ago.
Chris, this campground area, I know you're very familiar with it.
Yes, sir.
It floods often,
Yes, sir.
even when we get far less rain than what we had. Now, I understand we got significantly more rain than what was actually forecast. I'm just curious, and maybe Doug can address this too. I'm just wondering with the forecast, minimum 2 to 4 inches, why that campground might not have been evacuated yesterday.
Right. I do know for a fact that the last time that it was evacuated, that they were told then to pay attention to the weather and any amount of rain at all. And most of these campers there are year-round and know how quick that this river rises. So as far as answering your question, as far as calling an evacuation this point in time, it wasn't because, number one, including myself, wasn't expecting this amount of rain this quickly for it, for it to rise and just take over the campgrounds. So the last time, like I said, they were told to evacuate in any amount of rain that comes up. And I'm not saying that to put the blame on anybody or, any of that. It's just an unfortunate weather thing that happened so quickly. And once it was discovered, I know we started probably approximately 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning, whenever calls started, coming in that needed, people needing help.
Around what time were those rescues of those 31 people?
This morning, did you have that, Mr. Phillips?
I would say it would be close to about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I don't have an official estimation on that yet.
So at this point, can you kind of describe where things go in terms of the efforts out there?
Oh, yes. The search and rescue will continue as long as the weather lets us. A lot of it is dependent on how fast the river, the water itself, goes down, and that gives the rescuers a better chance of locating any missing persons.
And once it gets dark out, do you think they'll call it off until tomorrow? Or?
Again, there may be some searching after dark, but it depends on, again, how swift the water is still running. Several different, things to cause for that.
And just talk about how tough this is for these rescue crews who are out here now knowing, that 4 people could be out there, including a baby.
Oh, yes. And I can speak, for myself and probably all the rescuers, first responders, the fire departments. And Alexander County is a county that tragic happens, the people come together. And they've done this in this situation too. We've got rescuers, firemen, all, especially down to campgrounds. And we've had other areas of the county where we've had people rescued. But what I'm saying is that it's hard on rescuers. It's never easy when you dealing with a body, but most of your trained rescuers, first responders have been trained somewhat when they come up finding a body. It don't mean you're going to get all the training to ever get you used to it. I can tell you after 40-some years, you don't get used to it. But it is hard on the rescuers, and especially when you have to break the news to a family. That's tough.
Sheriff Owens, there's only one death so far, or 2? I heard you mention there was a wreck on Hopewell Church Road.
Well, if we count that one, yes. That was an automobile accident that, of course, the North Carolina State Highway Patrol is working that one, where it appeared the car had ran off the road into water, and that person was found deceased also.
There's one person in that wreck who was killed.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Any details you can get on that victim?
We don't, because, like I said, all this is just coming together so quick, and it's going to take time as far as notifying family members and get names and so on.
Anything else you want to say just about what's happened, especially at that campground?
Well, not only the campground, but there is other areas, Highway 16 South and Millersville, where the water was washed out, actually part of the Millersville Road and a side road. A citizen came up to me while I was down there this morning and said that he had a couple of vehicles that was washed away by the force of this water, along neighbors having lawnmowers and so on, which will be somewhere found on down the river. Excuse me, if anyone happens to come across something like that, please don't try to do anything except call the authorities, that we can come out and investigate it, and of course hopefully any more bodies would be found.
I know there was a crash this morning, or actually a section of the Rocky Face Church Road completely collapsed, and 2 vehicles ended up down in a pretty significant hole. I've seen some photographs. Were people
Yeah, I'll let,
Pretty significant drop.
I'll let Doug speak on that. Like I said, I was directing traffic on Highway 16 South for 5 hours this morning, so I was stuck in one place. But I'll let Doug address that.
Rick, to answer your question, yes, there was at least one vehicle and 2 subjects that were trapped at the bottom, approximately 10 to 15 feet below the road level. They were recovered, and they were doing good when we left. They didn't even go to the hospital. So that is one thing.
Out of the 31 people who were evacuated from the campground, were there any injuries there?
We had some lacerations, some bumps and bruises, and we had one that was having a little bit of a pain. So we did transport 3 from that facility. EMS did to Ardell Memorial Hospital, and at this time, 2 out of the 3 have been released, and we have them back at the shelter right now.
Are there any concerns with some of the roadways and bridges in the area, some that maybe don't have damage now, but there's significant effects that may cause damage in the future in the next coming hours that you'd like people to try to avoid?
Most definitely, there's quite a few of them out there. It's hard to just put down which ones they are. Our DOT, we have been working with our DOT, and they are working to get crews out for of course, road blockages. Plus, I think the engineer is being out to start looking at bridges, especially the ones that are closed right now, and any ones that we feel are possible danger areas and stuff like that. So we've been working real well with our Department of Transportation.
The shelter at East Taylorsville Baptist Church, is it going to remain?
It is going to remain as long as we have people there. And later on, if it does close down, because the people, we started out with 19 and we're dwindling down to 13 right now. So if it does close down, the American Red Cross might have the possibility of doing something else. But if it does close down and you feel that you need a shelter, if you contact our communication center and advise them what's going on, we can open it back up if we have to. I'd like to thank the DSS, the Health Department, the Red Cross, and our Alexander County Citizens Emergency Response Team, or CERT team. And I want to thank the Building Inspections team, because they've been doing a lot of, I would say, gophering for me today to try to get shelters for animals there. This is a animal shelter, also has the animal shelter, and we've used that crew to help with that.
Are the 4 people related to their family members? Can you explain who they are a little bit?
We are not for sure if they're family members or not. We have doing some investigation, so we're unable to confirm that at this time.
And can you briefly discuss about what you're doing to find these individuals?
Right now we have 4 swiftwater rescue teams from the Mooresville area. We have our local volunteer fire department, Stony Point Fire Department, Fire and Rescue, and they are actually working on doing some searching areas with their Zodiac boats and using their swiftwater rescue. But the main thing they're doing right now is they're having to wait before they can really get in there till the water subsides, and get where they can get into the trailers itself, because the trailers' doors are still underwater or unable to be opened. So they will be working with that at this time.
When was the last time this campground was evacuated?
I can't give you an exact date. It was it February of last year? February of 2019. We evacuated with the Swiftwater Rescue Team, Stony Point, and we also evacuated with our Alexander County CERT, or Citizens Response Team, and we used deuce and a half to get them across the bridge, or get them across the road in this situation.
2019, not the flooding February this year.
No, sir, it was not the flooding this year.
It was 19.
Yes.
Thank you.
No more questions? I may add one thing I happened just to think of.
There was certain sections of the county that was out of water this morning, and it is due to the storm itself. That pipes been washed out from under bridges and culverts, and we just want the people to know here in the county that that is being worked on and trying to be restored, hopefully before dark. And I also want to say that I appreciate the offers from surrounding counties, sheriff's offices that has asked if we need any kind of help whatsoever during this disaster, that they was willing to help. So thank you.
First releases are on the table.
Thank you. And if you do release names.
Plus, more than 20 people rescued from a flooding at a